Well, it feels like deja vu all over again. Lynchburg and Roanoke facing off once again in these ODAC semifinals. Third consecutive year that we've had this matchup, and the back half of a phenomenal ODAC semifinal doubleheader that's already gotten underway with Washington and Lee and Randolph-Macon. We'll talk Generals and Yellow Jackets here in just a moment, but quick reminder, Evan Gates alongside me. I am Sam Graham in what could be the last game on this field this season, but both of these teams now have a chance to host the ODAC championship game because of what happened in the front half of that doubleheader. Randolph-Macon, Evan, trailed in that game 9-4. They storm back, close things on a 9-3 run, and knock off the top seed in the conference, Washington and Lee, to the tune of a 13-12 victory. Austin Payne, he led the way for Randolph-Macon, 5 points on the day, including the game-winning goal.
Well, listen, W&L has been so tough to beat throughout the season. They're undefeated in ODAC play for a reason. The battle for 460 is not going to disappoint. These two teams don't like each other very much, and that's just the conference play in general. But you understand what's at stake and really what's on the table. Think about this Lynchburg team as well. We know they have a coach in Steve Godelko who's been there many times, but you cannot forget Bill Pilot. He has been sensational. So many numbers, so many legends in the building, we could say, are on the field, but just excited to get things rolling.
Well, you mentioned two of the best when it comes to coaches. We got several of the best when it comes to players. We will take a look at a few of those numbers to keep an eye on. And Evan, I think first things first when you're talking, we'll hear your gateway to success here in a moment, but it's really hard to ignore the 19 goals per game that Roanoke is scoring. That's second in the country, trails only the defending champs, nationally number one. Let me get this right. Oh, they haven't lost this year, 18-0. Salisbury Seagulls, who Lynchburg got a chance to see earlier this year. Not bad company there for Roanoke, and in fact, those are the only two teams in the country averaging over 18 goals a game. So it's a margin between second and third. It's going to be one of the most high-powered offenses that Lynchburg has seen all year, and they're going to get it from a number of guys. We've mentioned, Luke Kammerman and his brother Julian, Wyatt Whitlow, and Luca Docking, another guy. Keep an eye on all four of those guys for Roanoke. Historic stuff. Docking and Luke Kammerman, the highest scoring duo in a single season now in Roanoke program history.
Well, and listen, there's no shortage of options. That's what the great teams do, and it's going to come down to Lynchburg's defense in this game. You really feel like Roanoke had their A-plus stuff in that first game, unable to come away with it, but that's why we got to take a look at the keys to the game, Evan's gateway to success. It starts with winning the face-offs, W at the X. Both squads have clear face-off advantages against opponents, but Roanoke offering 14 shots per game. That means that they need to be able, 14 more shots per game. You got to get those face-offs to even have that advantage later down the stretch, and then diversifying the portfolio. Get everybody engaged, even if your top players are locked down. We know what Lynchburg's defense can do. Tyler Hadley's been sensational. Where's that depth going to be? For Lynchburg, it's all about defense. It's sometimes as simple as that. You have the energy at home. Schellenberger, one of the toughest places to play. You got to thrive on defense to really open up the doors and then eliminate the exit signs. Well, Roanoke is clearing at a 91% rate, and that's something that cannot be ignored. The Maroons are going to look in transition. We know they have the options up front.
Well, and you mentioned the defense for Lynchburg, and obviously we got to talk about offense for Roanoke. We've already done it a little bit. We mentioned Luke Kammerman. Let's talk about him a little bit more. The player to watch for this Maroons squad, Luke Kammerman, the all-time assist record for a career in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. By the way, he's back for a fifth year next year. Going to set some records that, may never be broken. Luke Kammerman, he's going to make this offense go here for Roanoke. He did it last year. He did it the year before that. He is the guy on this team. We mentioned there's a couple other guys worth noting, but not going to find somebody that does it both as the instigator, scoring the goals himself, but also feeding it off to his teammates. Now, you mentioned the Lynchburg defense, so let's talk a little bit more about that as well. Our player to watch on that side of things, let's go with Dom Zingo. Now, today, obviously, man-up opportunities always a really important thing. Dom Zingo, best defender on this Lynchburg squad. He's a 4-year guy. He's been around. He's seen these Roanoke teams numerous times, but he's also the most penalized player on this Lynchburg team. He's got to keep his nose clean. This whole Lynchburg team has got to keep their nose clean because those man-up opportunities, that could be the difference in this game. You don't want to have 3 or 4 minutes in the span of these 60 that you're down a player.
Well, we know that Roanoke, even throughout this season, really hasn't struggled with penalties. Lynchburg has really struggled with those man-up opportunities. They were second in the nation last year. That number has dipped down a little bit, and so how can you really take advantage of those stats? It's going to be something to watch. Also, a pair of coaches, as we mentioned, Hall of Famers. They have been so good in what they've been able to accomplish. Bill Pilot on the Roanoke side, 34th season, just continues to stay activated and calibrated. I mean, this squad has so much trust in him, and being a goalkeeper at Roanoke in his past, it was a very good one. You know, he's going to have his squad ready. And then Coach Kudelka, you think about this season, the energy with this squad on this field, he makes them buy in, something special, 11 consecutive NCAA appearances.
When they walked out of the locker rooms today, Coach Kudelka looked up to the press box. He said, turn that music up. Both coaches locked in for today. We'll leave you with a little bit of history before we get out of here and get you ready for face-off. Just the other day, win number 400 in the illustrious career of Bill Pilot. And tonight, Coach Kudelka looking for win number 350. We'll monitor those coaches all night long. Looking forward to a great one between Roanoke and Lynchburg. It is time to meet off at the face-off X. Lynchburg to our left, attacking right. Roanoke the opposite. To our right, attacking left. At the face-off X will be Michael Kraus for Lynchburg, Jake Brader for the Maroons, and it will be nearly Kraus for Lynchburg. Instead, a quick opportunity loading up for Roanoke. Bodies collide as the shot gets off, and it is off the mark. And, folks, just bear with us early on in this one. Dark numbers here for Roanoke, and before the sun goes down and the lights take over here, it might be a little tough under the shadows to make out some of those numbers. Believe that first shot will be credited to number 12, Jay Fry.
Well, listen, Sam, they're not wasting any time getting to that 58 average on the season, always trying to look for transition. They're not afraid to shoot it early.
I'll introduce you to our goalkeepers as well. Tyler Hadley, the man who just made the save there for Lynchburg. That is the 554th of his career. Fifth-year student, fourth-year player, began his career on the club team before Coach Kudelka liked what he saw. Hadley was ready to make the step up, and he's assumed that starting role now in his second full season for this. Anchoring this Lynchburg defense on the other side, the man in between the posts for Roanoke who will be tested today is Taylor Lewis. And now Lewis, a senior, last year the backup to Alex Foyer, who was a freshman back then. He got the start to begin the year, but Taylor Lewis has taken over in goal over the back half of the season.
Both are confident, too. They're not afraid to get out of the crease. You understand this, too. When you have two veterans in a game like this, they've seen this matchup time and time again. So it just comes down to really building trust in their squads, and it really just almost that top-down approach. If you can solidify your defense today, your attack's going to be ready to go.
You know, when these two teams met off just a couple weeks ago, it skewed offensive, an 18-15 decision for Lynchburg. But in the past, this is a nitty-gritty rivalry-type atmosphere, and a lot of times those games can come down to those big-time defensive stops. So we'll see what we wind up getting today. But like we said in the pregame show, we know it's a Roanoke team that can score, they can run, they want to put you back on your heels. Lynchburg pressing up far away right now. Dylan Schuster giving defense against Sean Kennedy. A lot of names on this Roanoke squad that you'll recognize if you were around here last year, the year before, but still a relatively young team. Lots of sophomores peppering the starting lineup.
Interesting enough, too, for Lynchburg sports, men's and women's lacrosse, along with baseball, all start their ODAC campaigns against the same teams as last year.
Lining up the shot was Wyatt Whitlow, leading goal scorer for this Roanoke ball club, but it was blocked before it really got off. Ball stays with the Maroons. Got turned around there, turnover, ground ball scooped up by our Lynchburg player to watch, fellow number 9, Dom Zingo. Leads the Hornets with 19 caused turnovers on the year. He'll add a ground ball to his total on that play.
Offense just looked disheveled. They're trying to really find that option in the middle, and it just seemed like a little too much of a swarm, but this will help them out. Unforced error to the Hornets, and so now if Roanoke can just build possession early, we saw what they did last game, going up 7-0 versus Shenandoah in that ODAC first round. It's got to start early.
Lynchburg pressuring the Maroons far away. We saw it in the midfield, the attacking third set a moment ago. Dylan Schuster pressing way up and away on defense, and now stopping Roanoke from clearing off of that turnover. Not easy to do. Maroons clearing at 90%, so expect some pressure that Lynchburg might throw at them throughout this game.
And you got to value every opportunity early, too. Yes, it's the first quarter. We've barely had a few minutes shaved off the clock, but these are the possessions, and we saw it against teams, really many for Lynchburg in these close games. But you think about W&L at home just a little while ago. These were the ones that were difference makers.
Both teams feeling each other out right now. A hot May day. Both teams opting for the black lids today. A choice. What a feed inside. Vandenberg finishes it off. Riley Mitchell, the fifth year, assists on the play. Hornets are fired up, and they will strike first. A beautiful draw up to feed in Vandenberg right outside the goal. Vandenberg been one of the hottest players on this Lynchburg offense the last couple of weeks, and he's going to get on the board first tonight.
Well, and it's obviously an impressive play to start it. You see it in the highlight. But reigning ODAC Player of the Week, I don't think he needs the accolade to know what he's capable of doing. We saw him in his freshman campaign. What a great time would it be now to get things started for the postseason.
If you just tuned into this game, this is the only game you watched all season long, you'd think just about every player on the planet is a USILA All-American, an All-ODAC selection, ODAC Player of the Week, ODAC Player of the Year. We've got a half dozen, a full dozen maybe, on the field tonight with some prestigious accolades and evenly spread out on both sides.
Goes back to the coaching, too. They've been in these moments before. They know when to put their players in the right situations. Talked about the cameramans and what they have been able to accomplish for Roanoke. But it is defensive as well. And in a game like this, we talk about offense, maybe defense is the exclamation mark.
Roanoke having a little bit of trouble finding the frame early on. They've had some good looks at it. Quinn Evans right there off to the left. And that opening shot off that face-off win was a great look. And bodies collide. Late defense collapses there for Lynchburg to maybe force that errant shot that goes and misses high. But Roanoke getting in position. Now it's going to be about finishing it off. The deficit is 1, 10:18 to go in quarter number 1.
They're not going to be worried in this first quarter either. We talked about 7 goals. They won almost every face-off in that first quarter versus Shenandoah. It goes back to possession, and we know what they can do on the clear on the other side.
Kyler Mahoney got the start tonight. He closed out well, has the play against Wyatt Whitlow. Again, that top goal scorer forces him outside and has to give it up. Nice play there by Mahoney, the sophomore defender who's had a couple of nice games throughout this season. What a shot there that just catches the backside of the barn. Tyler Hadley scoops it up. The jump shot turn in midair. You put that in basketball terms, there's your double clutch type opportunity. Just might have been a little too creative.
Shot clock expiring, not much you could do with it. You almost have to catch Hadley off guard early because you know you get down to 3-2-1. The play is pretty much dead, and so consider that a small victory for Lynchburg early, trying to build momentum, and obviously on the scoreboard, it'd be nice to have a few points for a deficit.
High screen from Ian McCarthy. Grant Voigt will take, and then McCarthy will jog off to give way to Cole Aprandy. Trio of freshmen out there in the midfield right now for Lynchburg. Aprandy, Liam Holman, it's Grant Voigt is the third. See Colby Hogg get out there with him from time to time as well. Holman's going to try one. This time he is off the mark. We'll stay with Lynchburg. 25 on the shot clock, 8:48 on the game clock. Lynchburg leading 1-0.
I like those chances early. Try to catch them napping, and if you can just have that energy that's going to go throughout this lineup, you're going to get a few of those goals throughout the game.
Holman to his left. Tries to give it up. Now he does. Voigt works it left. Lynchburg continues to go clockwise here. 5 on the shot clock. Got to dial up something. Schmidt eats some contact and fires in a good look. Saved comfortably by Lewis. Now unable to corral it is Lewis. Right on the doorstep. It's waved off. Finn Schmidt came soaring in like Superman and back tapped that one back into the back of the net. And it will be waved off inside the crease. So Taylor Lewis gets out of jail free there.
That's a breadbasket play right there, and you got to feel upset if you're Coach Kudelka. You feel like you had that one, but you like Lynchburg's opportunities, really rattling Roanoke early. We'll see if the Maroons can really keep possession here, trying to turn the tide.
Nice play there by Lewis, keeping his head right down to the end of the shot clock. Has to dial in for all 80 seconds. Finn Schmidt got a pretty good look out of it, even though with about 6 seconds to go, it looked like he might not have been sure where the shot clock was. First step's a good one, but then again Lynchburg rotates. Hornets and A little bit of zone, throwing those switches like crazy. Now you see it again. Alex Blanchard trying to blow that up and get Sean Kennedy out of position.
You like the help defense there, and you don't want them to find that middle. That was good penetration from the Maroons. If they can get that pass going, they're going to find it because they're having over 11 assists per game.
Defense has been locked in early on for Lynchburg. Dom Zingo bowls over his attacker. That was Whitlow, 9-on-9. We'll see that match up a lot. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Third opportunity now for Roanoke. Close by. That's a hard one to stop. Roanoke is on the board, and they're on the board with, don't want to call it an easy one, but Julian Cameraman made it look easy. First time we've called the name of a cameraman today, Evan, and it will be Julian, the younger brother, wearing the same number, that 23, as his father, fellow All-American at Roanoke. It runs in the family bloodlines. Both of these guys, and Luke and Julian, wanted to play lacrosse here pretty much from the time they were about 10 years old and now living the dream.
Well, tradition is rich at Roanoke, and you understand in a program like this it has to be. The ODAC in general, so stacked, but with what Coach Pilot has been able to do in his tenure, 34th season, think about those 9 ODAC titles, trying to add number 10. You see so many All-Americans on that list, and it just really almost serves as a sales pitch for those recruits to come.
Pilot, a great player in his own right at Roanoke, one of just 5 players, as a flag comes in, that has had their jersey number retired. The number 37 for Bill Pilot. Nobody's going to be wearing that one again. Lynchburg probing. Jake Rust, Hornets leading scorer. Now we're going to check the flag. Should be against the Maroons. Check the call from our head official. It's against Roanoke, offsides. So a short penalty here, but a penalty nonetheless. And Lynchburg with the ball has an opportunity in this man-up situation, something that we wanted to look at very closely here, Evan.
Well, this is a Lynchburg team that when you look and you consider that second in the nation last year, that's something that might keep your eye, but that's what they have to fix now. They're right around 35%, and so it just starts with being comfortable in possession. You can't turn it over. Use the time. It's still in the first quarter as well. Nothing to lose. This is when Coach Godelka's squad can really stomp.
Only a 30-second break, and Roanoke's defense stopping their opponents in man-ups 26% of the time. Lynchburg, on the other hand, Evan, as you mentioned, has struggled a little bit on the year. Keep an eye on Dylan Wolf and Finn Schmidt here, 4 man-up goals apiece on the year. It is Wolf, and he cashes in. 5 center cut, and Lynchburg goes back up 2-1.
Dylan Wolf just made that one look easy. He was shooting the entire time he catches this pass. There's not much you can do in the goal other than watch. And watch how he just probes momentarily. He has it in the right position. It was almost a little bit of a missed footing, but that is laser tag stuff for number 55.
Evan, I was reading an article this morning on ESPN talking about, your guys, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Luka Doncic, Anthony Edwards, those guys' abilities to really utilize that, slamming on the brakes. You get a little bit of momentum, and then those guys can just slow all their momentum and let their defender run by. That's sort of the move that Dylan Wolf pulled out of his back pocket there.
Well, it's one thing to have speed. It's another to be able to use it wisely. And when you can slam on the brakes and just be methodical about it, so many more options are going to open, especially on the pass.
Is Lynchburg off the face-off again. There's some juggling on the far side. Lynchburg retains. Riley Mitchell still in there. That quarterback-type position, back of the offense. Gives off to Schmidt. He has 1 assist already. Schmidt will not cash in on a second. It's 1 and done for Lynchburg.
Well, off the pipes, that's shot number 12 between these two teams early. And, yeah, only 3 goals on the board. It's a little too early to say that's an indicator of what's to come, but obviously, we have seen these defenses really clutch up and force longer possessions from the offensive side. A few shot clock violations are at least getting in the ballpark.
Lynchburg, a zone press there. Does not work. I mean, again, a team that's 90% on the clear, you're not expecting to stop them half the time. It's maybe getting them down to 70 or 80%. Maybe that's enough to make a difference. So Lynchburg continuing to stick with that pressure in the backyard.
All about timing, too. Can you just rattle them a little bit so they can't have their way the entire possession?
Working around again comes Roanoke. Loose ball scooped up Lynchburg. Another statistical category where Roanoke is dominant here is ground balls, but Lynchburg's been all over them early on today. making those hustle plays that you got to make when you get down here late in the season.
Think about correlation versus causation, but when you're at home, it feels like those hustle plays are just a little bit easier to make.
Liam Holman working in transition, got a decent look at it, and knocks Lewis out of the goal running after it, but Riley Hastings a little too quick. He's closer. Roanoke wants a timeout. They'll talk things over, and we'll take it with them. A blistering start, but just 2-1 on the scoreboard. 4:19 remaining in the first.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins, not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
You talk about the margins in a game like this. You see slams on the brakes, lets the defender go by. But we'll point out Dylan Wolf there putting Lynchburg back on top. He does it on the power play, the man-up opportunity. His 5th goal in man-up this season, but a Lynchburg team that struggled a little bit to the tune of 35% on those man-up tries.
And it's so tough because that's a narrative, right? We see that stat throughout the year. It might change for every single team that you play. We don't really know what that defensive scheme looks like from Roanoke to try and rattle it out. But anytime you can have a 1-for-1, you like your chances. Lynchburg looking good early, and Dylan Wolf starting off on the right foot.
Seems like in these big games, Dylan Wolf's a guy that you really never have to worry about showing up. He loves the moment. He loves getting hit. He loves the action. Guy that's been around another 5th year. A number of these 5th years for this Lynchburg team. We mentioned Tyler Hadley and Riley Mitchell already. And then some that, kind of behind the scenes that you might not immediately come to mind, but like an Ian McCarthy, a guy that adds some depth to this team. He's played a little bit more on the defensive side this year. This is an older Lynchburg team. It's also seen some freshmen from last year grow up. They're going to stack on another one. This time it's a senior. Jake Rust has goal number 41 on the year. And just like that, it was the Roanoke timeout, but Lynchburg still has the answers to the test.
Well, it's getting a little rusty, but that looked pretty polished to me. Jake Rust on his way to what has been a spectacular season, a red-hot start. And again, anytime you get your players going in the postseason, you know something special is on the table. How about number 10 getting it done?
Jake Rust led the way in scoring last season. He's done it again this year. Now, he does not lead the team in points. That's Riley Hastings and Dylan Wolf, and a tie entering today that Dylan Wolf broke on that last goal. But a whole number of Lynchburg players with 100 points to their name in their careers or 100 goals. Maybe nobody quite scratching what Luke Camerman's done in a 4-year career at Roanoke, but let's not act like Lynchburg doesn't have their own offensive firepower to bring to the table.
And that's what happens when you bring these grad students back, too. You got to have a pretty good reason if you're coming back for a 5th year. And we know a lot of teams are hungry for conquering the unknown. That's the slogan Lynchburg's been using. But you just think about the ODAC in general and how many players are coming back. They know what's at stake. This is the time to do it.
Lynchburg, a team last year that advanced to the NCAA quarterfinals, 6th time in program history, 2nd since 2021, and felt like they were right there. You kind of ran into that team they just couldn't get the best of in Tufts as Grant Voigt knocks the pole again here for this Lynchburg offense. They wanted to come back. A lot of these guys come back, give it a fresh shot. You had some that dealt with injuries last year and wanted to get right from that. Now everybody's healthy and has been for a couple weeks now, and you look at Lynchburg coming in here today at six straight wins.
Well, it's a luxury at this point in the season, and some teams take it for granted when you're fully healthy. But there's still so much season left if you can get that postseason run rolling.
2-man game between Hastings and Schmidt, a couple of sophomores. And once again, maybe that ball getting lost in the sun, a couple of errant passes, maybe guys just either not where they're supposed to be or, again, just losing that in the sun. See if those go down a little bit as this game wears on, but they're costly nonetheless.
You don't like turnovers going backwards either, and obviously this one gets out, so not as big of a problem, but when you keep it in play, Roanoke clearing so strong.
Hastings knocked off his feet, and now he was aggressive, pressing up, trying to stop there on the clear. Nothing dirty there. Julian Cameraman just says, I got to get by. I'm going to clear for this team. Just kind of runs right through Riley Hastings.
That one will be felt a little bit in the fourth quarter, and that's what you like to see in a game like this. It's a rivalry. You still keep it clean, but we know in this fourth quarter it's going to be a very different atmosphere.
Sean Kennedy, he's gotten things going sort of at the top. This Roanoke offense, another pass errantly off the mark, keeping it and sweeping it on that end. That was a nice effort in the backfield by Weston Hammond, sophomore who last year as a freshman was a USILA All-American, honorable mention. And for a Roanoke program, Evan, that had just 2 freshmen all-time be named All-Americans. They had 2 in last season alone. Julian Cameraman was the other.
And that might be the most impressive award you can get, because not only do you have the people who are contributing at a high rate, you got them for 3 more years. And Roanoke is just in a spot they're going to compete for years to come. I don't think we have to discuss that. But obviously, you get experience in the ODAC tournament as a freshman, as a sophomore. You're really setting yourself up for success down the road.
56 seconds to go in quarter number 1. Another great feed inside to Vandenberg. Russ kind of lulled that defense to sleep, and Vandenberg, I think, a little bit frustrated. Bounced that one, left it too far away from the goal. But 32 seconds on the shot clock, 45 on the game clock. As Lynchburg will reset here and try to work efficiently.
That passing to the middle has been crisp so far for Lynchburg, and we've seen a few quick ones where they've rattled it out. We saw Wolf's goal. Can they get one more to end the quarter?
3-1 lead here for Lynchburg. They had to gut that regular season matchup out in the fourth quarter. Dealing with a lead right now. 22 seconds to go. 5 on the shot clock. Another pass inside, and Riley Mitchell just didn't see the defenders. Kind of gets sandwiched there between a couple of them. So unfortunate, again, Evan, like you said, the pass right there on the money, but great job collapsing by that Roanoke defense on the interior. Riley Hastings has to hit the deck to avoid the offsides there for Lynchburg. I don't see a penalty flag. So it looks like he's safe.
Lynchburg getting a little lucky, too, to end the quarter. Obviously, you don't want that error on one side to go affect you on the other, but Lynchburg and Roanoke going to battle. Just 4 goals in the first quarter. Defense is heightened. Energy is awesome on Schellenberger.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division III has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball, or it's not just about school. It's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
Football has taught me a lot throughout my life. It's definitely had a huge imprint on who I am as a person. Competing at a Division III level created that opportunity for me to go to college. Not only was I the first one in my family to graduate college, but I was really the first one to even go. Being the first one, I'm breaking that cycle, and now that I've graduated, I'm not sure what's the next step, but I know I have a lot of doors open. And a lot of those are open because I played football and ran track here at Otterbein.
Look at the energy on Schellenberger Field. The students out in full effect. Finals week really on the way, and you can sell a little bit of everything here in the Hill City, starting to finalize as we head into May. We know there were only 3 combined losses between these two teams in the ODAC season, and so you understand what's at stake. Sam, so far, defenses have really been the ones to come out and capitalize, but we know we've seen a lot of back and forth, a lot of opportunities.
Evan, we were talking about it at the break. 20 shots between these two teams, just 4 goals. That's 20% between the two of them. Both teams shooting below their average. Roanoke well below, obviously at 1 for 10, and certainly not on pace for that 19 goals per game mark. It's going to take a tall task to get there over the next 3 quarters. And we don't want to say it's out of the realm of possibility, but I'd say both of these defenses have really answered the bell through quarter number 1. We're into quarter number 2 now, and we're in that interesting point of the year now, Evan, where all these fans out here, and we expect to see some more as the night goes on. This could be the last time we see this team this year, but there's also a chance where, okay, maybe you host an ODAC championship game, maybe you even host the first round of an NCAA tournament, and then you're looking at 1 to 3 more times. So it just gets weird here towards the end, this final stretch. You just got to bring the energy to every game.
Well, that's why they always say the postseason is a new season. It feels like a few weeks left. How about that from Lynchburg, getting a little down and dirty?
Luke Meadows. So now one defender has hit the ground on both ends, trying to clear. That time it's, I guess, the more nifty way, the little sidestep cross up. But first time Julian Cameraman going old school, says, I'll just, kind of run right through you. You're in my way.
Both work. Very methodical on one end. And Lynchburg, I think, will take that isolation a lot today. Both teams, obviously, when they are open, are going to fire away at a pretty high rate. But it has to just start in the second quarter. I feel like going into halftime, the momentum is going to be so crucial. We've seen a few games in this postseason that have come down to the end. Think about that WNL and Randolph-Macon result earlier today. But you would like to have the upper hand now.
Just another reminder, if you're just joining us or didn't see the pregame show, Randolph-Macon upsetting top seed Washington and Lee, come from behind a 9-4 deficit on the road to win that game. First ODAC title game appearance for Randolph-Macon, and they await the winner of this game. Here's Steve Ulrichs for Lynchburg, clearing it. Meadows took the last shot, wanted another one. The defender who's become a regular starter for this ball club.
I like the change of pace here, too. You saw Ulrichs really break the back door open, and now Lynchburg can slow this possession down. You're up too early. You can really have that luxury. You don't want to really use the scoreline as the only justification, but the Hornets are going to try and get a good look.
Little cram there in the backfield. Jake Russ comes in like a blitz to add a spark. Shots off the mark, but corralled by Hastings before it goes out of bounds. He'll reset now. Runs through the Roanoke defense. I'm not even sure how that one got through, Evan.
That was very Riley Hastings-ish, just to wrap back around and make this one look easy the entire way. Took just a couple seconds to formulate it. Lynchburg now looking really pretty early.
I mean, don't blink. They just goes right into the teeth of that Roanoke defense and slides it between a trio of them and the goalkeeper. The sun's in our eyes right here, but you almost missed that one.
It's a lightning bolt. Can't say that after the other night. We've had a few weather delays in the Hill City. It's about as perfect as it's going to get today. And what a time for an ODAC semifinal. Lynchburg up early. Roanoke going to try and knock on the door.
Michael Kraus is going to bowl over Jay Fry there, fighting for that loose ball. That's going to draw a flag. So Lynchburg's going to be a man down here in a moment. Free play type situation for Roanoke. They're going to get the ball back either way. They've been great on the man up, 50%. Lynchburg's got to buckle down here.
Don't know how they got that shot off. You mentioned it, kind of a free play scenario. But wow, the Maroons almost forcing that one a little bit.
Now we check the penalty, but, pretty much know what this one's going to be. Pretty cut and dried on that one. You just got to keep those emotions in check. We mentioned it earlier, and Michael Kraus, a physical player. He's got that low center of gravity, the face-off guy, and you like the hustle. But, again, you got to make sure you're limiting any man-down opportunities in this game. And unlike that last one, just being an offsides call against Roanoke, you're going to get the full minute here that Roanoke's going to have to work with. A little bit more methodical already. Expect them to really slow it down here.
Well, you understand what's at stake in those plays, and you mentioned the emotion. There's no way to escape it. I think even the great coaches just want you to tap into it. How can you be productive throughout this game and let it simmer? We know that Lynchburg, throughout the season, has faced many ranked opponents, and you just come out time after time and really just got to go back into your style of play.
Good passing here for Roanoke. Got to figure the Maroons want to get that top of the lineup involved here. Luke Kammerman, really, he's got it right now, but we have not called his name much. Wyatt Whitlow was active early, not really since. And we haven't called Luka Docking's name at all. And that leaves Julian Kammerman, who does have the lone goal. Got to get those guys involved, and they will. Sneaking one past Tyler Hadley. He misjudged on that one. We'll wait on the goal scorer. Is it Whitlow? Is it 9?
28, Noah Bell. What an impressive start, too. When you mentioned some of these attackers up front, you don't hear their names, and the first opportunity, boom, going to slot this one home, and that's what Roanoke has to have in this game. Can't look at the scoreline early. They understand that they are a shot away, or in this case, 2 shots away from being right back in this ball game.
So it's Noah Bell that gets it done. No offensive slouch in his own right. That's his 23rd goal of the year, but it was Luke Kammerman who assisted on it. As we noted, all-time assist record holder, not just for Roanoke, but in the conference. And with another year, I'd say Luke Kammerman's going to have quite a few records to tote with him in his backpack when he leaves Salem, Virginia.
Might just have to have the Luke Kammerman book after that, because it is a lot of sheets, and it just goes back to what this experience has been able to accomplish. You bring your brother into the equation as well. We've seen what Julian's been able to contribute.
Well, and he cited that too, that he wants to come back. He has that extra year of eligibility. Obviously a great player, but wants to spend that extra year with his brother. We know it's a family affair. We've already talked at length about that. But interesting as well, looking at Luke, that is, actually played goalie from ages 10 to 15. He said it actually really helps because he's able, when he talk about shot placement, he knows where the goalie is going to be. He can think like a goalie. He said credits a lot of his success on the offensive end when it comes to positioning and placement, just being able to see the other side of it.
And who understands that more than Coach Pilot, right? That's what the great squads can do. They can see it from both sides of the game. They're going to strike either way.
Bill Pilot, a 2-time ODAC Player of the Year. He won the ODAC Championship all 4 years as a player, and then has quite a few that he's tacked on in his 34 years as head coach. Now, it has been a couple of years for Roanoke without an ODAC title. You got to go back about a decade since the last time. And that's been due in large part to what Coach Kudelka's built here at Lynchburg. You look at Gene McCabe and the Washington and Lee program, and then Hampton-Sydney's in the mix pretty much every year as well. And now, of course, Randolph-Macon, sort of the next seat at the table. Lynchburg is going to burn a time out here. And once again, we will step aside and take it with them by telling you our score with 9:13 to go in the first half. It's Lynchburg 4, Roanoke 2.
College has given me the flexibility to pursue my passions and my interests, and I've recreated my identity for myself aside from just being an athlete.
My greatest personal discovery has been that I am capable of doing things that I didn't know I was capable of doing.
To be able to study what I wanted to and continue to play the sport I love, all of those things came together very nicely in one package in Division III.
Want to have some outdoor adventures while getting a degree at the same time? At the University of Lynchburg, we have an on-campus zip line and ropes course. Plus, we offer adventure trips that cost less than a cup of coffee. And did I mention our beautiful scenery? We're a university for students looking for something more than just books. Welcome to your new adventure experience.
Well, obviously the offense is still a little bit slow going. Just 6 goals between these two, who entered tonight averaging about 33 between the pair of them and scored 33 the first time they met. Lynchburg and Roanoke continuing to feel one another out on the defensive end. We do now have 1 man up goal apiece, so both teams making the other pay on those man up shots.
Shot clock winding down. Roanoke's got to fire.
They will. It's Luke Kammerman from distance. Would have been impressive had he connected. 1 second left. Roanoke's going to burn it. Make Lynchburg go fetch there on the far side. Tyler Hadley will scoop one up from the back line instead. save those legs. It's a long game, still 8:51 to go in half number 1. And now some pressure from Roanoke on the clear. They haven't had a ton of opportunities to set that pressure, and now we've seen it twice.
Well, and you mentioned it's a long game. Last year's ODAC matchup, Lynchburg trailed by 1 going into the fourth quarter, so I don't think anybody is going to be fully out of this game barring anything insane on the scoreboard. And so it really just has to be a fight. You have to stay true to your style.
Flag comes in there. We'll check that here in a moment. It was Vandenberg for Lynchburg doing battle in that back corner. I mean, typically those flags go against the defender, maybe encroaching in there on the space as he bobbled that one up in the air. But getting past that, another sort of burned opportunity there for Lynchburg as another pass goes awry. Sails out of bounds where there is no one there to retrieve it.
Been a few exchanges now just trying to get that possession slowed down a little bit. Passing has got to start being a little better.
Cameraman, spin move. Surveys, now fires outside. Quickly around the perimeter goes Roanoke. Then goal line extended from Whitlow, and we'll check the penalty. We will stay on this side. The conversation is with Luke Meadows. But it will be Spencer Vandenberg there that goes and will take a seat. Much to the appreciation of the Roanoke faithful. Traveled well here tonight. Obviously, Lynchburg students packing the track opposite us. Most of the Roanoke contingent right here around the press box. Always fun when these two teams get together. You take a look at it again. Calling it there for the check. Vandenberg's going to take a seat. So another man down here for a Lynchburg defense that struggled a little bit.
That's so frustrating, too, because when the play slows down, doesn't feel like much is going on. Now you got to serve the penalty. We'll see if Roanoke can capitalize again in a man-up situation.
Only 30 seconds here. Shot off the mark. So it'll be 15 seconds left to work with the man down. Or man up, I should say, for Roanoke. Now with 10. Try to get a quick hitter. Lynchburg defense fell asleep a little bit. Then a push in the back. It's going to be another penalty against Lynchburg. And that's going to be the third of the day already. And it's going to be against Tyler Hadley.
Don't see him come out from the crease very often in that situation. That's a risky one if you're Lynchburg because you know that heightened urgency on the play. You see the ball get away. You almost thought that was more of a gimme than it really was. Now Lynchburg going to sub goalkeepers.
2 men down now for Lynchburg and a new goalkeeper in the game. It's Andrew Miller in there. Only 2 seconds left on Vandenberg's penalty. Don't imagine Roanoke will get one off that quickly, but you still got to jog back onto the field. Maroons reset. In comes Luke Meadows. Still a man up is Roanoke. That shot sails. 24 more seconds on Hadley's ticker for a Lynchburg team that's already racked up 2 minutes in penalties.
That was a fantastic look from Luke Cameraman, one that he will make more often than not.
No look pass. Cameraman to the outside. Words for the Lynchburg student section. Quinn Evans, the recipient of a Cameraman dime. And that is the second man-up goal of the day for Roanoke. 2 minutes of Lynchburg penalties already, and they have been made to pay. Too much offensive firepower on this Roanoke offense to make anything easier. They're scoring 19 goals a game, and that's with only scoring about 2 or 3 man-up goals a game. You can't give them that many extra opportunities. They will make good on them.
Sweet stuff from the senior from Cincinnati. Saw him after the play talking in the Lynchburg student section, and that's not something that's uncommon. You have a few words throughout the game. Now, it is only the second quarter, but in one of the tougher places to play in D3, it's coming out and ready to go here in the ODAC semifinal.
Well, and let's make that clear right now, right? If Roanoke winds up coming out and winning this game, there will be a parade across the Lynchburg sideline. They will wave good. I mean, we see it from time to time.
Tradition sticks for visiting opponents, and they know what it takes to come on Schellenberger and win it. So obviously, means a lot for both teams. Long way to go.
Well, they know what it takes. It takes a lot. I mean, this is a place that Roanoke has not won since 2013, and they've been close. I mean, don't get us wrong. They've lost 7 straight on Schellenberger Field, but a whole host of games decided by 3 or fewer. And Lynchburg, I mean, in the overall series has won the last 8. But again, I mean, it's just almost always a battle when these teams get together.
well, you can really almost talk about dynasties and what they've been able to accomplish. And we know this conference is so difficult, you don't always see that success from a record standpoint. But when you look at the D3 climate, 3 teams in the top 20, you're saying, yeah, okay, they're ready to go.
Last 2 goals of the game have been scored by Roanoke. Both of them have been man up, but Lynchburg defense is finally going to get off the field. Evan, it feels like we haven't seen the Lynchburg offense set anything up now in the second quarter, other than that Riley Hastings goal early, and we only got 5.5 minutes left in the period.
We talked about some of those turnovers as well. It just feels like when they have a chance at a possession, they're not making the pass or 2 needed. This might be a chance for the Hornets. We see a lot of isolation. Roanoke's got to choose who they double here.
Russ jogs in to make it a nice 6 here for Lynchburg. Hornets still up 4-3, 5:17 to go in the half. Long pass, that one does connect with Mitchell. Those shadows almost gone. Sun is almost retreated. Mitchell lines up the shot off the mark. 38 seconds for Riley Hastings to key it back in.
Both teams liking that look down Main Street, just trying to get a good angle from the middle. These 2 goalkeepers are so tough to get past too, but I think with defense in the second half, you wonder what adjustments are going to be made if it's going to be a little bit tighter, because despite the lack of shooting percentage, still a lot of looks early.
Mitchell slips off a screen, gets back up. Finn Schmidt. We'll see if they credit the assist to Dylan Wolf. Finn Schmidt is on the board for the first time today, and it's been balanced scoring for Lynchburg early on. 5 different goal scorers, and that time it's Finn Schmidt. A slow start, missed his first 2 or 3 attempts, converts on this one.
Oh, that was a great fake to his left, too, before he fires away. That's what it takes, those patient looks. We talked about slowing down the pace and really just dictating your possessions. That's what Finn Schmidt does. Pays off on the scoreboard.
Dylan Wolf will pick up the assist. Believe that's point number 3 for him on the day. Now, he's had a good career at Lynchburg, but he's put together something extra special in his senior campaign and has always been, I think, a favorite among the team and among fans. He brings that energy that we talked about earlier. Really producing here as a 5th year. Missed a big portion of that meaningful part of the season. Obviously, every game is meaningful, but it seems like everything towards the end counts a little bit more, and he missed really that second half of the regular season a year ago with injury, and then came back and was able to produce at a high level to get off to a fast start this year.
Well, even when you're injured and let's say you can play at that stage of the season, doesn't mean you're enjoying it. You're going through rehab, always in the trainer's room. Now you can come out and live up to that potential, and Lynchburg's Jake Russ doing just that.
Rust rips Twine, another assist to Dylan Wolf, and Jake Rust has his 2nd goal of the day. Mentioned just a second ago, some balanced scoring for Lynchburg. Well, Jake Rust put it on repeat. He's got 2.
Tell you, he looks so comfortable when he rips it too. He just sits, waits for that moment, and you're going to see it on the replay. Look at that pass, just a little scoop, and awesome opportunity. Lynchburg loving every second of it, now up by a trio, 6-3 in the Hill City.
And Jake Russ, not a guy that you want to really see get going if you're a defense. I mean, we know that the 6-goal, 8-goal games that he's had, he can heat up. The microwave guy for this Lynchburg offense. Michael Krause still has it. He's getting beat up. And now we'll get the timeout for Lynchburg. Coach Kudelka says he wants to slow down his face-off man and talk things over. Hornets have answered a 2-goal run for Roanoke with 2 of their own, and they're up 6-3 with 4 minutes to go in half number 1.
Lynchburg is all about you, your ideas, and your goals. We've got 1 professor for every 10 students, so you can get all the support you need. In the classroom, in the lab, or in nature, you'll learn by putting yourself out there, and we're right there with you.
4 minutes to go, half number one. Lynchburg got put on the ropes courtesy of a couple of man-up opportunities just a moment ago. Take a look at the scenic Schellenberger Field, the Hornet statue that overlooks it in the sun. Thankfully starting to set now.
We'd appreciate it if it was a little bit quicker, but we're not going to rush Mother Nature. We've had a pretty warm and, we'll say, comfortable evening here in the Hill City, but it is May. It's starting to heat up on Schellenberger.
Lynchburg now looking to tack on a third straight goal here. Again, Roanoke cut it down to 4-3 after trailing 4-1. Lynchburg had an answer for him. Dylan Wolf was involved in both, assisted on a pair. He's got 2 assists and a goal already to his name. He has sort of led the way, but Jake Rust has 2 goals for the Hornets as well.
We talked about it really at the outset of this broadcast, diversifying the portfolio. It goes for both teams. How many players can you get involved? And we're seeing Lynchburg put players in situations where they can score, and it's not just 1 or 2 funneled up top.
Grant Voigt down playing that attacker position right now. Different look for him. He wanted the ball there. Lynchburg didn't see him there at the top of the key. Now he has it. Time ticking down on the shot clock with 2, and Lynchburg's not going to get one off. Win for the Roanoke defense on the shot clock violation. We'll go back. Grant Voigt calling for it on goal line extended. They just didn't see him. He was unmarked. Might have been ready to line one up with his dominant hand. There we go. Another ball trickles across the end line. Another turnover here.
This has got to be a time where the passing starts improving. You even look at some of the top performers. Whitlow for Roanoke, back-to-back games without an assist. He's only had 4 of those games this season, and that's something that is such a hard stat to be able to fulfill. And so we understand with this offense, it's got to be those 2 or 3 players up front for both teams who get everybody else going. I feel like that's why Lynchburg has the lead right now. It's just been that versatility and distribution.
Mitchell holds and waits on the pass, waits till the right moment, finds Jake Rust again. It's a first-half hat trick for a 1-0, and he scored the last 2 for Lynchburg.
That's exactly what we're talking about. Watch Jake Rust on this run. He is really just able to stay patient because it starts when you see the passes up front, and then Mitchell had a great look for Jake Rust to finish it off. Hat trick in the first 30 minutes, really only took 28. And you talk about momentum going into halftime, Coach Godelka's got to be loving it.
Well, we went a long while, Evan, with Lynchburg's offense really not setting up anything in the attacking third. Maybe had some looks on the clear and missed on passes or turned it over in the backfield, what have you. Now we've had this extended period of not seeing Roanoke down to our right the last 3 or 4 minutes, and Lynchburg scoring on every possession down to now take its largest lead of the day at 7-3.
Well, you just got to take it one play at a time, and earning the faceoff is a great start if the Maroons can just use this shot clock. Not too much of a disparity between that and the game clock, about 40 seconds or so. So probably 1 possession each to wrap up this second quarter. If Roanoke can just get within 3, you got to feel comfortable.
Whitlow with Darren Palma on him. Palma, 3 caused turnovers last game out. Second time he's done that this season. A Lynchburg defense that's had a number of players have to step up this year into starting roles. Palma's one of them, and he's got the ball. Trying to recollect it. He's being badgered down the field. A lot of contact here. No flags yet. First things first, who can pick up the ball? Alex Blanchard's going to take it, and then he gets run over. Still no whistle, no flag. Coach Kudelka not happy about that. Bill Pilot says that's just fine with me. Play on.
Play on indeed. It's turning into a rugby match. Everybody going after it, and that emotion starts to matter. But if you're Roanoke here, can't get beat going backwards. They get it back. 44 seconds, maybe one final chance.
Lynchburg's going to press up, though. Costly turnover, 2-on-1. Hastings, give it to him! Lynchburg! Hectic sequence. Riley Hastings comes out of it. Johnny on the spot. 2-4. Knocking on your door.
Yes, sir. Thank you. See ya. Lynchburg loves it, and that's just on their doorstep. That's that hustle play that we talked about. Riley Hastings doesn't have to do much, just a quick bounce in. He starts it with his aggression. You're bringing all the Lynchburg faithful with you.
Do we even call that defense into offense? I mean, Riley Hastings is an attacker. He just doesn't give up on the play. You have Lynchburg obviously upset. A lot of contact there. Ball's all over the place. finally rolls down around there, scooped up, turnover. Roanoke takes it. They think they're going to get a good look at an offensive set. Riley Hastings just blows it up.
Worst case scenario here if you're Roanoke is you give Lynchburg one final possession. Even if you don't score, you just want to hold on to it, try to really get everything back in check because it just feels like Lynchburg's so dangerous right now in transition.
They have to reset the shot clock here. The game clock, I should say. Got going a little bit too early. Will be Roanoke ball. Believe it'll be 28 seconds on the ticker. They'll try to get that sorted out. That's enough time here, Evan. Now you got to work quickly, but you got to, as best you can if you're Lynchburg, try to mark up those main four, Docking, the Cameramans, and Whitlow. Now most of them have been pretty quiet early on here. It's been that supporting cast that's come up and gotten the plays made. But you got to try to mark those guys because it's going to one of them. You got to figure.
Well, and you've checked your boxes like you said, but keep everything in front of you here. Nothing that's going to be extracurricular. Maroon's got to run.
It's 27 seconds on the reset, and Lynchburg again will pressure. Roanoke breaks it with 20. Time to survey, space to work with. Fry has it. Now 14 seconds. Can Roanoke make a run? Slams on the brakes, kicks back out to Evans, who has a goal to his name. Behind the goal with 6. Still probing. Inside, stepping into it goes Evans, blocked, and that's going to do the first half. Evans does get one more shot off, and then some feistiness between Tyler Hadley after the play. Conversations between these two teams, and I don't imagine they're friendly, and they'll probably continue in the second half. Lynchburg puts on the Jets, a 4-0 run to close out the first half. We're 10 minutes away from the second and having a whole lot of fun. Lynchburg up 8-3 through 1.
I wanted to be a physical therapist probably starting about halfway through college. I love the concept that exercise is medicine. We're starting to discover that exercise really can remedy many of the things that we thought that only surgery or only drugs could remedy in the past. When the student comes here, it's because we believe in them, it's because we want them here, it's because we believe they'll be successful. The faculty here are devoted to their development, not only academically but also professionally. We're not so inundated with things that we don't have time to make students one of our highest priorities. We have your back. We're gonna help you through that. If you're willing to work, then we're willing to put the work into it and the effort to help you succeed.
I was really attracted to Lynchburg primarily because my dad went here. He is an alum, so I kind of had that close tie of being interested in the school, and the school had what I wanted to study. I knew I wanted to help people in the area of health and wellness, so the health promotion program was definitely a program that drew me in, and from day one I've been in love with it, and I wouldn't have chosen any different. I have never had better professors or teachers in my life, and I think here at the University of Lynchburg, the professors definitely care about their students, especially in the health promotion department. These professors want you to be educated, want you to have the experience, and just want you to feel confident going into your career path following your collegiate education. You just feel like you're cared for here and that you matter, and that no matter what, at the end of the day, you're going to be successful, and the people here really want to be here, and everyone has a purpose, and it's just a great environment to be in.
Get your career in the game by enrolling in the University of Lynchburg MBA program with an emphasis in sport management. This program opens the doors to new possibilities for a variety of careers, from being an athletic director or working in athletic administration to working for professional organizations, your favorite team, to running a local Parks and Rec department. And employers are increasingly requesting and preferring individuals who have postgraduate education, specifically looking for an MBA. And so the University of Lynchburg Sport Management concentration in the MBA program sets you up for success, and it sets you apart from the many other people looking for jobs in the industry. Learn from winners. Here you will learn from professors and mentors who have spent their careers doing exactly what you want to do. Increase your marketability in an $83 billion industry. If you have a 3.0 GPA, the GMAT is waived. There's no application fee, admissions occurs on a rolling basis, and our online program is ideal for working adults. When you enroll in this program, you enroll in the opportunity to learn from the best of the best. Your professors have a wealth of experience working in the sport industry that they share with you in the classroom setting. Get in the game by getting your MBA with a sport management concentration at the University of Lynchburg. Just you know, Hollywood, here I come. Hey, I meant, yeah.
The real Lindsay Piper's here.
Autographs there later.
My name is Davion Washington Jr. I have the honor of serving as the student body president. I have 5 little siblings. I'm the oldest of 6 siblings, and they look up to me. I'm setting the tone. I get to develop myself, make myself a better individual, but also I'm helping future generations, not even my family, but just future generations in general. I found my passion here. I found, the love for what I want to do. I just really had an amazing time here. It's changed, my outlook on life. You don't have to be famous to change lives. You don't have to be on the big screen or whatever. I change lives now, and I hope to continue to do that. Just same way that the University of Lynchburg has changed my life for the better.
All right, my name is Joshua Carr. I am a senior. I am a theater major as well as a history minor. I love the arts. I love acting. I love entertaining. I live in 5th Street, the historic black neighborhood. The money came in, transfer, scholarship, all that. I appreciate that greatly. I pay my own tuition. I ain't got no help. I pay everything myself. I mean, I'm smart too. So they were like, you smart, here. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate that though. You come here to do a job. I came here to do a job. A student's job is to get that degree and make something of ourselves. We got everything for you. We got you a 24-hour library. You got these sorority fraternities. We got the shoot for you. Is you gonna put it on? That's how University of Lynchburg is. Success is in the details. You know what I'm saying? It's like you learn it, know better, do better. What I love is they allow us to speak. They want our voices to be heard. They want us to talk. They want us to bring up the discomfort. They respect our point of views. They respect Black Lives Matter. They respect the LGBT community. They respect those, you know what I'm saying? That's what I love about my school. They respect that and they allow us to showcase and voice our expressions. I love the diversity here. I love the different interests of people here. I can act, dance, sing, box, play football. I can do it all, you know what I'm saying? I can teach somebody that doesn't know what I know, and that person can teach me something that I don't know that they know. That's what you get here. You get diversity, you get different people with different knowledge coming together, sharing information and helping each other out. That's what I love. That's why I say people. I love the people here. College, think about it. If it's not for you, fall back. If it's for you, go further with it. And University of Lynchburg will be that choice. It's gonna be right there. They're gonna make the shoe. They're gonna do what it do. It's up for you to put that shoe on. So that's what I say.
Winner to the ODAC championship game winner to the ODAC championship game, winner to host the ODAC championship game. It is all Lynchburg right now to the tune of an 8-3 advantage early on. Now Roanoke cut that deficit from 4-1 to 4-3 in quick order, scored on the back of a pair of man-up opportunities. There is one of them. As you look down, Quinn Evans had something to say to the student section right after, but Lynchburg, the answer was electric, and it was fast. Lynchburg stacks 4 more on the board to take that 8-3 advantage into the half, and this Riley Hastings scoop and score topped it off with the cherry, but a full half to go here. Lynchburg up 5.
There's just been so much energy from the start of this game, but obviously Roanoke's going to be the ones who have to almost bring this fight to Lynchburg in the second half. You're down 5. It's not the end of the world, and we know that this is an ODAC semifinal game because these two squads have been so present throughout the year. But Lynchburg understands what they're dealing with, and they have been here before as well. So a great spot for Coach Kudelka's squad as we take a look at some of the halftime stats. You think about how these two teams have played. I mean, Roanoke has fired away 25 shots so far in this ball game, and so they are obviously in a decent spot, just not getting the percentage they want. As you see on your screen, 12%. Turnover battle split even, and then obviously the hustle stats have really gone either way, but Lynchburg was just the one to capitalize late in the first half. That's where we're sitting now.
And so, Evan, I'll ask you this. We thought that defense and timely defense, for a period of time might be what puts this game away one way or the other, even though it did skew offensive when these two teams met the last time. So I'll ask you this. You have Roanoke shooting 3 of 25, 12% through the first half. That's about 20 percentage points below their season average. They're also on pace to score only 6 goals. This is the number 2 scoring offense in the country. They're scoring 19 a game. Again, Salisbury, the only team in the country better, and they're ranked number 1 and the defending national champs. What do you think it is for this Lynchburg defense that's just really stifled the Roanoke offense? They've thrown that zone at them, maybe some pressures, but, what do you think's putting it over the top?
Well, and I've liked the energy the entire way, but like you said, I think it just starts with that zone, and it's been the possessions that Roanoke has had. They have really just stifled out late. We've seen a few plays where it just doesn't look like comfortable passing, and then you get to Hadley, and Hadley has 6 saves already. And so it's just by committee for Lynchburg. Now, Roanoke obviously has a few scorers on this team who can turn it around quickly, but the Hornets want to make sure they put it out of reach early.
Lynchburg has racked up 2 minutes of penalty time in this game. 30 seconds of that were credited to Tyler Hadley, so we will note one of those 3 Roanoke goals was scored against the second-string goalkeeper for Lynchburg, Andrew Miller, while he was in there serving time for the Hadley 30-second breather. Now getting hammered inside is Spencer. Literally wrestled to the ground, defender on his back, and now words exchanged. Officials may need to get control of this one. Spencer Vandenberg, football tackle, wrestled to the ground by the neck. It's a physical game, but you got to keep those emotions in check. It's still a long way to go in this one, so officials might need to get together and just figure out how to settle this one down a little bit.
I didn't know they were having UFC on Thursday nights. That one was about as close as you're going to get, and that's the energy we're talking about. But Spencer Vandenberg, I love that he does not give up on that play. So many on the attack side will just try to pass it off, get out of contact. He's going through it. It doesn't matter who was in front of him.
Well, and he's a hard guy to bring down, too. You wouldn't necessarily know it. He's not, a short guy. He's right around 6 foot, but he does still have that sort of very balanced center of gravity where he's able to kind of stick up on his 2 feet. Here comes the penalty. This one's probably going to be pretty sizable. It's going to be a 2-minute penalty. That is big time. Did not catch the call. Imagine this one is not releasable.
Wow, and that's so tough just to start this second half. You understand now with Bryson Miller sitting on the sideline, you're just in a spot where this is a Maroons team that has to trust who's in. We talked about the man-up opportunities, but Lynchburg capitalized early. Can they do it again?
Big time here for Lynchburg. Bryson Miller, the senior out of Midlothian, Virginia. One of those few guys that you're going to find with double-digit goals and double-digit caused turnovers. His presence will be missed for these next minute and 40 seconds. Lynchburg working methodically. Mitchell, a really good look at it, saved nicely there in goal. Taylor Lewis, he's been, I don't want to say quiet. He's got 5 saves, but he was very active at the outset of this game. Lynchburg kind of getting the best of him down the stretch in half number 1, but steps into it, makes the save there with some confidence.
That's almost Popovich offense, too. It's a good pass, or excuse me, a good look passed up for a better look. We've seen Lynchburg do that a few times today, and they're getting that straightaway shot fairly frequently, but we know that Roanoke now can turn the tides in this narrative early in the first half, especially if your coach Pilot has to be just take it one play at a time. Forget the penalty. Allow yourselves to really slow it down. You have a lot of time left.
Roanoke a man down here on offense, staying patient. They cannot fully run out this penalty. About 14 seconds between the shot clock and the penalty clock here. Check that, make it about 17. I promise I can count. Staying patient. Comes Roanoke still far away from the goal, 20 seconds left. Now, I mean, I get this. You don't want to risk a turnover and give Lynchburg a really good chance to score on the man up. Swim move. Gets to his left and had space. Lynchburg closes on it. Surprised Julian didn't go ahead and pull the trigger there. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Does Whitlow know it? Surveying, Whitlow's going to take the infraction.
Wow, I don't know if he did.
Still not sure. Sort of saw their shoulders drop there at the end, but it's a senior player. I assume he probably knew, but to not even get a shot off there is interesting.
That's what's so dangerous about 2-minute penalties, too, because obviously you affect one possession, but it's just a shift in the energy and the pace of this one. We've seen a lot of back and forth early, and you can tell now it's almost parking the bus, trying to get that patient good look, and that is really going to play in the favor of Lynchburg.
Bryson Miller back out there, and he's going to tag up Dylan Wolf. Expect Lynchburg to go right at him. That pass, Dylan Wolf just not on the same wavelength with Riley Hastings. Threw it to where Hastings was instead of where he was going. And Wolf's a little disappointed in himself for that one. Roanoke again gets out of trouble. No shot comes off the board for Lynchburg.
You know, Sam, we haven't talked about this a lot, obviously, because this game is so different. But you think about Lynchburg's 6-game win streak. Roanoke was involved in that and was the only ranked opponent that they beat during that streak. But you just see how cohesive this offense has been today. I think that passing is just the big improvement that we have seen because, yes, you look at assists and they might not look very different, but Lynchburg's timing, as you said, despite that last play, has been very crucial in why they're up 5.
Well, Lynchburg, you mentioned the 6-game win streak. The Hornets have really been on it ever since about March 24th, just one loss, and that was a 1-goal loss to Washington and Lee on this field. Julian Kamerman shakes off Dylan Schuster. Again, surprised he didn't go ahead and pull the trigger on that shot. Battle for the loose ball again. It bounces right to Kamerman. Thought about it, passes off, shot sails over the mark, but a good look.
Got to be dangerous when having those turnovers in the wrong area. You saw Lynchburg almost a few checks they might have gotten away with, but good situation for Roanoke, still on the doorstep.
Luka Docking, spin to get the defender on his back. Back-to-back shots from Docking. Really haven't heard from him much today, so a good sign to get him involved there, but now just 3 seconds on the shot clock. And tossing it to the other side. Once again, Roanoke will go ahead and burn that one. Another shot clock violation for the Lynchburg defense.
They're stacking up, aren't they? I mean, Lynchburg's defensive efforts, they're not going to show up on the scoreboard, but it has been so impressive. I think the fact that they have 6 saves, you know, that's a relatively normal mark for this stage of the game. I think it just makes it that more impressive. Now there's an empty net, but Lynchburg will settle, slow it down.
Nice grab made there by Voigt to avoid the turnover. Lynchburg waiting on that last man, and now in comes Cole Aprandi. He'll join Vandenberg, Voigt, Holman, Schmidt, and Hastings. Again, rarely do you see Vandenberg, Hastings, and Schmidt come out as those 3 frontline attackers. Rotate the midfield with some good frequency here, does Lynchburg. Trust in that second line. Top of the key, probed and then backs out, does Holman. Reset for Lynchburg with 25.
Still looking to the middle, and they're reversing now. Ooh, almost on the backside. Vandenberg's going to have to fight for this one.
A lot of velocity behind that pass, then behind the back to keep it in bounds. Some highlight stuff here from Lynchburg, but all for naught if you can't put it in the back of the goal. We'll keep that one in the back of our head, though. Another pass from Voigt is off the mark.
Everybody just a little disheveled. We saw Voigt there almost focusing so much on getting position, and he just airs the pass a little too high. Few plays back and forth now. It almost feels like who can just complete a possession.
from the point pretty much of that Bryson Miller penalty. This one has been a bit ugly on both sides. Two teams, again, it kind of looks like the outside of the game, like feeling each other out, trying to get reacclimated. But if you're Roanoke, you want to try to do that sooner rather than later, still down 5. Docking with space, gives up behind the goal at the X.
Very uncharacteristic for two offenses to go this long in the third quarter without a goal. We've gone now almost 7 minutes. You just think about who strikes first. Does it break the wall open? Roanoke has had opportunities. They're still not able to convert.
Lynchburg sticks in that zone. Steve Kadelka said that it was his ball club's ball. Officials disagree. Stays with Roanoke with 39. Credit to Henry Merendon on that last possession, holding his ground, not biting on any of those fakes or spins, just keeping his defender in front of him.
Got to just focus on the chest in that situation. Don't bite at all the English. Just keep everybody in front of you.
Blanchard, a good job to settle down before he blew right by Patrick Cullen, who slammed on the brakes. Cullen, one of those second-line guys for Roanoke. What a save there. Tyler Hadley, eyes on the prize the whole way. Scoops it up out of midair. Here comes the pressure again from Roanoke. Dylan Wolf jogs in to take it, clears for Lynchburg.
This is exactly what we've talked about. Roanoke really had a better possession on that one. Few open opportunities, cutting to the goal, and then there's Tyler Hadley. He is just like that brick wall, the final resort for Lynchburg, and he has helped them stay in so many games. That versatility, especially for some of these upperclassmen, has started to pay off at this stage of the season.
Lynchburg has dictated the pace and style of this game. It has skewed defensive. Roanoke still sitting on 3 goals now midway through the third quarter. Again, a ball club that averages 19 scores per game. Dylan Wolf strikes again. Fire him up. Wolf, his second goal of the day. He's got 4 points, and he is firing and igniting this Lynchburg offense.
Display of dominance right there, and you just saw 3 or 4 defenders bite at him and still out of reach. Watch this right here. It's that 1-2 step to the middle, and he already knows before he's even looking at the goal when he's going to shoot this one. Great timing and engaging everybody in the crowd.
So much velocity behind those Wolf shots, and especially when he's able to step into it like that. It's second time. Both of his goals today, we've seen him get to that middle spot on the field where he feels so comfortable and rips it in. We'll mention now Roanoke has not been held to single digits once this year. They're going to have to pick up 7 goals in the final about 22 minutes to outdo that. Certainly doable for this ball club. But got to keep that in the back of your mind. Lowest point total of the year was 10 in a win over Mary Washington.
Quick offense here, maybe the open man.
Hastings spins and then topples over a defender, trying to get right back up and shoot. Quick moving there from Hastings. Officials blow the play dead. It's a Lynchburg timeout. Hornets struck again to break the drought here in this second half. We finally have a goal again. Lynchburg back up 6, largest lead of the day at 9-3 with 6:43 to go in the third.
Be ready for anything, okay?
Come on, let's go together. Together, let's go. Come on. Let's go, keep going.
Carry this to death to it. Sweet. Yeah, yep. Yeah. Cool. Good one. All right, guys, you see the meat grinder down here? Stay in the boat. Let's go.
It's been a tough puzzle to crack for the coach on the opposing sidelines from that man, Steve Kadelka. He's got one of the best offenses in the country, and he knows it, but just having trouble getting those cash cows going. Think about Luke Cameraman and Luka Docking, highest scoring duo in program history in a single season. They've got 167 points on the year between the two of them. Just have not gotten things going today.
I want you to consider something from last game from Lynchburg versus St. Mary's. They won every single quarter. And, yeah, you went 18-6, so you're expecting high numbers. But it shows that depth, especially on the bench, what they've been able to contribute. And then this defense has really epitomized that throughout this game. It's just that next man up, time after time, shutting the door. Roanoke still trying to find that answer.
Tyler Hadley, he's been great tonight. 7 saves to his name. He's been great as of late. 7.41 goal against average and a 63% save percentage in his last 5. Really rounded into form here down the stretch of his 5th year. Turn, shot. Did it cross the goal line? Stopped on a dime. That might have been more luck than anything that one didn't sneak by Hadley. It got placed down there on the ground. I don't know if it was off a foot or what, but that thing just died on the doorstep.
Docking's just got to be scratching his head after that. That's the type of quarter it's been for Roanoke. They're getting good looks. I mean, you even saw that one straight away. It didn't look like it was going to be one that was off frame, and you have to really look at that shot on goal percentage to clarify that. But the Maroons just unable to find it. And now Lynchburg, once again, can take their time.
Now shooting 10.7% on the day is Roanoke, 3 for 28. For reference, they shoot about 32% on the season. They've gotten the shots at right about that average clip. Right on pace for their goal total there. It's just been converting them. Getting the shots where you want them and then obviously getting them past Tyler Hadley. Grant Voigt tried to shoot and then pulls out of it. Shovel pass back to Holman. Holman thought about a shot, and then another errant pass is going to turn it over. How many of those have we had today?
We've had a lot of turnovers, but the Hornets have also found that angle pretty frequently right around the goal, trying that wraparound shot. I don't think you can feel too bad if you're Coach Kadelka, but obviously turnovers have been at a very high rate. You know, coming into this game, we look at the numbers, they're pretty similar. Lynchburg averaging 3 more than the Maroons, but it just feels like it's turning into a slugfest, a scrap, and that has really caused that category to go up.
Back on offense comes Roanoke, where Tyler Hadley has saved 7 of the 10 shots placed on frame. Roanoke has outshot Lynchburg 28-20, just waiting for it to translate to the scoreboard. Staring down at a 9-3 deficit with 4 minutes to go in the third. 3 men standing there in a line in that midfield. A good play by Evans to shield that ball and keep it on this end. Lynchburg nearly caused another turnover. Contact, goal line extended, gets back up. Good job, Julian Cameron puts his head down. He gets muscled to the turf, and that's going to warrant a flag against Steve Ulrichs. It's Henry Merendon down there, number 8. Lynchburg gets the turnover with a little more contact to boot, and will now check 2 penalties on the play.
Sam, it feels like that's the type of quarter it's been. Who can stay on their feet the longest, and we're seeing a few penalties as a result. So maybe a big opportunity here.
Man-up opportunities got Roanoke going last time. Turned them into 2 goals unanswered. And then Lynchburg is on this extended run to answer those 2. And we're going to have 2 guys taking a knee here. Dangerous spot again. 2 for 2 on the man up today is Roanoke. It's the one thing that Lynchburg's defense really hasn't had an answer for. And maybe that's not exactly fair. You are obviously a man down, in this case 2. Second time today Lynchburg's been 2 men down. Now 3 minutes in penalty time for Lynchburg. That's over their season average with more than a quarter to go.
You have got to get this if you're Roanoke.
Good shot. Will stay on this end. But yeah, head down in disbelief there for Luke Cameron, but he's got to shake that off. Senior leader of this ball club. Just got to keep on shooting.
51% man-up opportunities as well.
Evans, a good look again, too high.
How long have they been flirting with the net? It just feels like there have been so many shots, and they're not far off either.
There have been a lot of shots, 30 of them to be specific. Only 3 have gone into the back. Evans, what a pass. A good look, but blocked again. Ulrichs stands in the way of it. Lynchburg dodges the 2-man down situation.
That's what wins ball games, folks. You look at these plays, you look at the hustle plays. We talked about it to begin. The defense might be the thing that changes it, but look at the hustle from the Hornets in that situation, just maneuvering it safely. Now they got it. They can slow it down and still holding Roanoke scoreless in the third quarter.
Credit to Steve Ulrichs. He stands right there in the shooting lane, takes that one, blocks it before it reaches Hadley. Now Lynchburg sets back up on offense. Credit to Lynchburg. I mean, wouldn't say they've really gotten away from their style despite having this lead. Still playing a normal Lynchburg offensive game on that end. Defense has led the way, kind of shouldered the load today, but the offense is nearing double figures, and we're still in the third.
That was a risky pass backwards. Good work from Roanoke, and now you just have to trust everybody in these situations. It starts with these one-on-one battles. Can they be connected?
Give and go once again, the shot, and they're not going to get much easier than that one. Beautiful play design, 2 players on the same page, but Aiden Sullivan just sells it to the left, unable to convert. Roanoke will try again. Full shot clock, but you can see the urgency now for the Maroons. Not a panic, but do have to have that urgency. You just got to kind of keep reminding yourself, if we keep shooting, eventually some of them got to start finding the back of the net.
You hope the floodgates open up, too, if you get 1 or 2, because you're going to need that run in the fourth quarter.
That one's scooted by 2 Roanoke offensive players. Guess who's in the area again? Steve Ulrichs. Big Steve Ulrichs, the long stick defender. Just didn't see the field a ton his first 3 years on campus. This was a deep Lynchburg defense. Guys left this past year. Chris Darminio, Chip Quinn, Cole Nestor. The opportunity comes alive, and Ulrichs has been one of the best, not only on this Lynchburg ball club, but in the conference. He's having a day today.
29 ground balls coming into this game, and again, we talk about that being a hustle stat. I think you got to look a lot further, and upon further inspection, this Lynchburg defense today has just shown you what it's all about. It is such a group effort. It doesn't take necessarily these one-on-ones all the time. You got to have the help defense, and that path to the goal just keeps getting smaller and smaller.
1 second between shot and game clock. Lynchburg will stay patient here. Try to extend this thing to a 7-goal margin with a quarter to go. Really make that a steep hill to climb for the Maroons. On the road, a spot they have not won since 2013. They've dropped back-to-back ODAC semifinal games to Lynchburg. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Spin from Voigt back the other way. Roanoke not giving an inch, and Voigt's off the mark. 9 seconds for Lynchburg to work with here, 10 in the quarter.
You got to connect the dots here, and you can't waste much time, too.
Hastings, watch the wrap. Roanoke seals it off with a switch. On the doorstep, that was close. Goal stands. Vandenberg at the horn, just about. 3 ticks left. Lynchburg, 10-3 is the advantage.
Hold your celebration for a second. They got to make sure this one's good. Lynchburg's going back to the X. 10-3 in a big-time third quarter. Maybe one that will be the punctuation mark when we look at the end of this 60 minutes. But if you are Coach Kudelka, you're in an optimal spot right now, just trusting your team doesn't have to force the envelope in this fourth quarter.
Now looks like maybe you've waved this goal off. There's nobody at midfield. Can't have been shot clock. There was 1 second disparity between shot and game clock and 3 seconds left. That's going to do it for the quarter. We'll check that last sequence. But no face-off. I'm assuming that means 2 hands went in the air for the goal. We are at the end of the third quarter. So 10-3 right now is what the scoreboard says. A 7-goal advantage for Lynchburg. We'll check it and get back to you at the top of the fourth. 1 quarter between these 2 teams and a trip to the ODAC title game.
Welcome to the Campus Recreational Department at the University of Lynchburg. We believe in a student-centered approach to recreation, making sure that all students have fun and engaging activities that promotes wellness, personal growth, and community building.
Our team works to provide a variety of recreation opportunities for all our undergrad and graduate students.
Let's take a look at the different areas of Campus Rec.
Campus Recreation covers all outdoor recreation. Our team offers dozens of trips per semester, maintains recreation facilities on campus, and offers outdoor certificates and leadership training.
Intramurals is open to all students who wants to play on a team. We have men's, women's, and co-ed leagues for each sport we offer.
Those looking for next level competition can join club sports. These are student-led organizations with the support of Campus Recreation. You can join one of our established club sports, or you can start your own with our support.
Campus Recreation offers an excellent amount of opportunities to stay active, make new friends, and develop new skills. We hope to see you soon.
So Parnas did not have a penalty flag come down, but it was a conduct penalty against Lynchburg following that last goal. Imagine delay of game. So that's why Roanoke takes over possession. Again, 3 seconds left in the quarter. They just elect to kind of let that one die. So the goal does stand for Spencer Vandenberg. It's a 10-3 advantage for Roanoke and for Lynchburg. And the Maroons have a steep hill, probably goes without saying here, to climb, with just 15 minutes remaining. Now, if there's a team in the country that can pick up 7 or 8 goals in a hurry, it's this team. A lot of times when a team's down, you almost want to say it starts on the defensive end, but in this case, I think it's just got to start on offense and not shot selection so much as just finding shots, having shots find their way to the back of the goal.
Well, they rounded off 7 in the first quarter versus Shenandoah. We've seen results this year where they've gone north of 25 on the scoreboard, and so you got to test Hadley early. And the last 4 of the 6 games, the save percentage has been over 60 for Lynchburg. So very tall task, but not out of it.
Luke Camerman, defender on his back. Hadley comes up to meet him, knocks that one out of the sky. Battle for the loose ball, but a good save by Hadley against the top option for Roanoke. Again, Wyatt Whitlow just haven't called his name a lot today. Top goal scorer. Luke Camerman the same. Luca Docking, status quo as well. Julian Camerman's probably been the most active of the 4. Still sitting on 3 goals now with 34 shots, under 10%, is Roanoke.
You just think about this dry spell that they've had, and it really doesn't indicate what that first quarter and a half really looked like, because Roanoke was almost the one leading the charge. Lynchburg got that lead, and ever since, they have just started dominating. And now, clock on their side. It feels like their committee offensively has been better, and it's not just the shots, but they have been getting some really high percentage looks.
So here's Lynchburg on a 6-game win streak, the longest since they rattled off 9 straight in the 2022 campaign. That one off the post for Jake Rust. He was looking for his 4th goal of the day. And Lynchburg winners of 9 of their last 10. They've done so by a combined margin of 103-44, as they have really turned on the Jets over the back half of this conference schedule. Quickly in transition, and the ice is broken. Roanoke is back on the board. They do it in transition. Patrick Cullen finishes it off, the sophomore from Martinsville, New Jersey, part of that second line. He's been in there a little bit today. Gets it done there quickly, and Roanoke draws 1 goal closer. Cullen trying to fire up this Roanoke sideline.
That was a nasty fake as well. Just knew exactly where he was going. Gets Miranda to bite. And that is another high percentage look that finally Roanoke is able to capitalize on. So as you said, it's still early in the quarter. We've seen that urgency so far. It's got to start at the X, though, and they might be able to get another one.
12:50 to play, and Roanoke needs 6 more to force overtime. You're absolutely right, though, Evan. It starts at the X and the clear. 2 spots where Roanoke's been pretty good, and been pretty good today as well. they do award another possession. Now 4 of 35 is Roanoke in the game. Back over 10% with that last hit.
You know, defensively, if you're Lynchburg here, I think you can't let your guard down for one. That's pretty obvious. But communication has to be ever so heightened because you understand Roanoke is going to be constantly looking to fire as they do again. This one a little left. And so every single play just kind of going at it, one eye in either direction.
Cameraman gave off to Noah Goad there. After kind of faking out his defender, there's a jump shot stopped and trapped by Hadley. So you sometimes wonder with a goalkeeper once they've sort of pitched a shutout in that third quarter, did Hadley, if once they're finally tested and beat, if you have that sort of shake in confidence, but Hadley steps up and makes the next save.
Julian Cameraman's going to be the one to step up to the table, too. We talked about him early, his physicality. He's going to get where he wants to go, and that's when Hadley comes into the equation. If you know they pick their spots and their shots, it comes down to your goalkeeper and who else and Tyler Hadley to make some of these big plays.
Lynchburg, again, every goal that the Hornets are able to tack on from this point just pushes this thing further and closer to its finality. Now, we have seen one big come-from-behind win already today in these ODAC semifinals, a busy day of conference semifinal lacrosse across Division III. Randolph-Macon putting together a 9-3 run pretty much all down the second half to outdo WNL.
And that's just the postseason. WNL is a team who hasn't lost in ODAC play, and so you just never know. Some of those question marks stay open.
So Randolph-Macon awaits the winner of this one. There's another good fake, another good ball fake for Roanoke. That time it was Aiden Sullivan. Saw him just miss on a give-and-go opportunity earlier in this game. He misses in transition that time.
That's just show and tell stuff from Hadley, too, because you're not only going to go get out in transition, he almost starts it himself. And then now you see Lynchburg in a really good spot. And so not allowing the ball to stay in any vulnerable spots, Lynchburg can get down the field in a hurry.
Hornets continue to probe, looking for the open spots. Number 4 for Jake Rust of the day, and that pushes it right back out to 7. Jake Rust outdoes everything done on the other end by Roanoke, finally ending that drought. You see the Lynchburg bench area mobilized to the far side. They're even trying to outdo the Roanoke bench area, I think. Lynchburg trying to come up big in every facet of this game.
That bench turning into corner killers on that one. Jake Russ, every single time he gets the ball in his stick, he is so crafty. He has just opened up new opportunities. It doesn't matter which angle he's coming from, and you've seen it a few times today. You get those attackers in the right spot, they're going to find a way to rattle off the shot and start painting the net.
So Roanoke, losers of 14 of the last 15 in this all-time series, are staring down another one. Another familiar fate is on the horizon right now. Still time to undo it for the Maroons. It's going to take a big response, and it's going to have to start right now. You get to that point where every possession has to be a goal. Here's some space to work with. A thin little sliver of space in the goal, though, to try to thread. Lynchburg had 2 stacked there on the near corner. Hornets get away again. Good pass, connected, clear, easily done. Hornets with the Maroons on their heels. Pass, shot off the mark. Finn Schmidt on an attempt that would have sent this place into a frenzy.
Everything but you love it if you're a Hornets fan, right? You're seeing this connectivity just between defense and offense. You know, you talk about the clear stats coming into this one. Roanoke was the one that really had that narrative, but almost feels like Lynchburg just has had more opportunities in that category, especially to exploit this Roanoke defense and transition.
So Lynchburg, 11-4 advantage, 9 minutes to play. Hornets have kept the Maroons at arm's length all day long, and the arms just got a little longer. Liam Holman tacks on another, and the Hornets back out. A largest lead of the day is 8, 12-4 Hornets, and it's turning into a party on Schellenberger Field. Lynchburg can smell a return to the title game, their 4th straight appearance, and if they're able to pull it off, it'd be right back here on Saturday.
14th goal of the season for Mr. 14, Liam Holman. That is a freshman presence that you've seen all season long. We talked about a few of them from the Hornets, and it just feels like they are so bought in at this stage of the season. You don't know about the history, right? You come into a new program, you got to really find the rivalries and understand it. You look at the student section today, you look at your bench, doesn't take much convincing. This is a game that matters. You want to really have the final say.
In a rivalry that we're so used to it being close, 7 games in the last 15 have been decided by 3 or fewer. This one's gotten out of hand a little bit. It was a battle through the majority of that quarter and a half, really. And then Lynchburg closes the first half on a 4-0 run that extended all the way to a 6-0 run before Roanoke scored again here in the fourth quarter. Went about 20 minutes worth of game time without a goal for the number 2 scoring offense in the country.
It's a stat you don't see every day. And it is definitely credit to Roanoke what they've been able to do this season in those offensive categories. We know that Lynchburg obviously has not necessarily shut down the shot department, 40 to the Maroons' name, but it just feels like every single one is just a little bit more forced now. We see Hadley has 10 saves on the day.
That one in the head and neck area again will award Dylan Schuster another trip to the box. We thought penalties would be a big thing to watch, but Lynchburg's now up to 3.5 minutes of time spent in the box and just hasn't translated to the scoreboard despite Roanoke having 2 goals on man-up opportunities. They'll look to add a third one here, try to keep this game going.
Another opportunity just skied, and they've seen that shot from that angle quite a few times, trying to go sideways, just not able to buy a spot that would be a high percentage look. And Roanoke now really just has to start settling from some of those further out.
And now the man up is over. It's even numbers. Still a good look there as the last man jogged on for Lynchburg. Alex Blanchard evens the numbers. Turn. That one might have gotten nicked as it left his hands. Luke Cameraman again down on the turf, still looking for his first goal. They feed it to him again, tries to tap it in on the doorstep. You'd think that'd be an easy one for the all-time record holder in Roanoke history for both points and assists. He's up there on the leaderboard in goals as well, but it's just not been his night. Lynchburg's defense all over the Maroons. And Evan, when Lynchburg has played in these big games this year, the ones that they've come out and won, I'll even throw a Washington and Lee game in there as well, even though that did wind up being a 1-goal loss. Lynchburg's done it with their defense. You even go back to an Amherst game or the first meeting between these two teams where the scores might be higher, but Lynchburg comes up big when it matters the most. That was a high-scoring game, and then Lynchburg stifles the Roanoke defense down the stretch in the fourth quarter to pull out a 3-goal win.
That's how you make a statement, right? Because you can look at stats and kind of know where to attack. The defense in itself as a whole is so tough to solve just because Lynchburg's experience, their depth, and their strength have really shown up today.
14-4, ranked number 20 in the USILA poll. They've been in and out of the poll all season, but the season starting to look a little dimmer here for Roanoke as they may have to sit back and await their at-large fates. Tournament field to be determined on Sunday night. Roanoke's got a case for it, but really would have liked to have come in here and picked up a resume-building win, a ranked win on the road in the ODAC tournament, but time is not on their side. 6 minutes to play. Roanoke has the ball, but they trail by 8.
The question becomes, is there a reality where there are 4 ODAC teams in the tournament field? Because we know Lynchburg and WNL have really sat in the top part of the rankings the majority of the season. Randolph-Macon enters the picture. Obviously, they win the championship. They are straight in. And so really tough road for Roanoke to maneuver, but I wouldn't say they're completely out. Few games throughout the season, they have battled hard. They're beating some of those ODAC opponents, but it certainly is just a tough spot to be in. That's the cost that you really work with in the ODAC, is understanding if you don't get 1 or 2 of these games, it can be a lot tougher.
Lynchburg with a win tonight would pick up its 4th ranked victory. They draw to 4-4 against ranked opponents this year, and even a losing effort against Washington and Lee in a 1-goal game that was back and forth throughout. You know, Lynchburg team that with a win tonight would be winners of 10 of its last 11. you feel relatively comfortable that if you're Lynchburg that you're probably going to a 12th straight NCAA tournament appearance. Roanoke, case may be a little bit tougher despite having that better overall record at 14-4 right now. Did pick up an ODAC tournament win, beat Shenandoah handedly. They've got some nice wins, but it's just this would have been that big one to sort of post on the refrigerator. With 5:21 to go.
Would have been timely, and you understand, too, ranked matchups. This is number 8 for Lynchburg on the season. They had 9 last year. There's no shortage of opportunities when you're an ODAC opponent, but obviously that problem becomes, as you said, if you don't get those resume wins, what's next?
Cameraman off the foot that time of Hadley. He's put together another masterclass, and now what has been a great 6-game stretch for number 0 in white. Hornets are going to draw another flag here, head and neck area for Dom Zingo. Got that stick up too high, so he's going to have to take a knee. Lynchburg once again will be a man down. We'll check the length of the penalty, but Hornets are going to at least get up to 4 minutes now, climbing towards the highest margin of the season for a Lynchburg team that averages 2:52 of penalty time.
And ever since that first man-up opportunity, they've really just weathered the storm. It feels like that big 2-man-up opportunity for Roanoke was the difference maker in this game. And we know, obviously, there was still a lot of time left. It could have gone either way, but just felt like a really big punch in the stomach. And now the Maroons just trying to maneuver uncharted territory.
Full minute sit down for Dom Zingo. It brings the total to 4:30 for Lynchburg as a team. And Evan, coming into this game, if you say that Roanoke will tack on another one, their 5th goal of the day. But if you come in and say, look, Roanoke's going to outshoot Lynchburg 47-31. Lynchburg's going to spend 4.5 minutes in the penalty box. Things are going to be relatively even at the face-off X, and Roanoke's going to clear at a pretty good clip. You'd probably think that maybe, even if you don't think Roanoke's winning in the game, you'd probably think it was a very tight game, 1 or 2 points. But Lynchburg's just made those big plays when they've mattered the most. And you look at Tyler Hadley here anchoring that defense. He's got 13 saves. You know, we know he can have those types of games. Saw it some last year. He had 20 saves in that losing effort against CNU. But this is a big moment for him to step up.
Well, and we're not throwing out the miracles yet. There's still a 7-point deficit, but assuming this one holds to form where Lynchburg will go on to play Randolph-Macon, I think it just shows you, and especially if you are on Coach Kudelka's staff, you can look at the stats, you can look at all the analytics, but throw it out the window during this postseason. You trust your style of play. You know if you show up in the big moments and you put your handprint on the game, you have a really good chance to take it. And I think Lynchburg has just ridden this energy throughout the entire night. It's so difficult to really display all of it to you back at home, but you've seen it throughout the day, the student section, everybody out and about. Schellenberger Field, one of the tougher places to play. We've seen it throughout the ODAC season, not just on this lacrosse field.
Lynchburg, Evan, not a team that's necessarily going to knock you off your rocker from a statistical perspective. Just by virtue of sort of the style that they play, they're just not going to stand out in a ton of categories. Now, there might be a few that Coach Kudelka points to this year, clearing percentage, man-up percentage, that, you would wish that they were a little bit higher, and you don't want to always sugarcoat everything or try to spin everything. But, you might not always have a guy that is scoring 80 goals in a season, But this Lynchburg team always seems to show up really when it matters the most and comes down to it at the end of the year. And I think now staring at a potential 7-game winning streak to close out the season to the point that we're at now at least sort of showcases that.
Well, postseason is all about health and timing. If you get everybody healthy on the field and you're ready to go, that's a win in that category. But it's also about, are you playing your best ball in May? And that is so much easier said than done. You have a lot of ranked opponents, especially a front-loaded schedule for Lynchburg, who came into the season really struggling against a few of those ranked matchups. And so to be able to do it now, coming to the ODAC with confidence, you like what you're seeing.
Docking lined one up, trying to work quickly. Another decent look at it, but just off the mark. Shooting touch and feel hadn't quite been there. Michael Krause did have his stick taken away from him for the second time today. A lot of theft down there on the field. Krause just might have a little too much grease on the hands. Had a hard time holding on to that stick, but he has been hounded coming off of those face-off wins. So credit to him for sticking in there and staying with it. He's taken just about every single faceoff for Lynchburg today. Another player that's been on a heater as of late. Point-blank range from one of the best scorers in the ODAC, and Tyler Hadley says no problem. Now he steps out. Oh, that's disastrous. And, yeah, that one, if you missed on that one, you'd really be scratching your head. Luca docking the empty net. A player down for Lynchburg. Looks like Luke Meadows. Appears to be a cramp. I'm going to stretch that out. It's hot now. You get into May. But talk about that goal from docking. You know, Hadley, a smart goalkeeper. I mean, that's kind of have to be as a goalkeeper. You have to know the game, be intelligent, and just maybe loses his head a little bit there, stepping so far out and putting that ball in harm's way. And credit to Roanoke turning that thing around quickly. And, you know, you blink, and they've cut it from 8 down to 6. Now 3:24 to go. But again, in a game like Lacrosse where you have that face-off, you can get the ball time and time again, and you know you have the offensive firepower. Now, maybe it hadn't quite been there today, but you know it's there, and at any moment it could pop. So, I mean, you said it, Evan. You don't want to count out the miraculous here. I mean, Randolph-Macon, I don't know that there were a lot of people picking them to go on the road and beat Washington and Lee, and especially not to do that after being down 9-4.
Not at all. And, you know, desperation opportunities are going to give you a really new look at what your team is all about because you don't have many throughout the season. You know, yes, regular season games matter. You're going to have a few late game situations, but when your season is potentially on the line, it's a new version of what you can do. We'll see if the Maroons can capitalize. They have got to get this face-off, though. They're going to have to get a few down the stretch in this next 3.5 minutes.
Jake Brader stays in there for Roanoke, but Riley Frankel stands in for Lynchburg. Frankel sold out for it before he had the ball. Got running too quickly. Here comes Cameraman. Going to try to inject some energy into this Roanoke offense. Maroons not saying die yet. Evans hits the turf. Tough spot. Has to kick it out. Scooped up by Blanchard, but a penalty is going to come down, it looks like. Nope, going to be a turnover. So a reset. Was contact right outside the crease.
Felt like the window was almost closing during that opportunity. There wasn't much he could do because Hadley was right there with it. But credit to Evans sticking with that possession. But now if you're Roanoke, the defense has to be red hot in a hurry.
Getting that stop there for Lynchburg, that might just about seal it. 2:41. You just continue to take off seconds if you're Lynchburg. It's a 6-goal game. Mitchell looked like he might have taken a stick to the face there, but shakes it off. It's actually his defender that hits the ground. And Lynchburg continues to let that clock roll.
There are going to be a few bumps and bruises after this one. I think it's safe to say. AT Clinic will have to be open late tonight.
Roanoke was just not quite ever able to really knock Lynchburg out of its rhythm. Maybe this hasn't been the prettiest of games. It's been a little choppy, but Lynchburg's put its head down and kind of gone to work here. And now just letting this clock run dry. 15 seconds on the shot clock, under 2 minutes to go, and you think about the math of scoring 6 goals in that amount of time. It seems like a tall task. Here come flags again. Lynchburg's going to be a man up, and that might just about do it. A fresh possession is coming for Lynchburg. 2 flags came down. They may be 2 men up here. Unless the officials saw the same thing. Take a look at it again. Vandenberg, he's had a tough day, hasn't he? Got wrestled down by his neck earlier in the game. And compared to that, I mean, not a whole lot of contact there, but it does seem like sometimes in these late game situations, the officials' whistles get a little bit tighter when the game's not super close.
It's one of those subplots, too. That battle between Vandenberg and Miller we have seen materialize all game long. So if you are Lynchburg in that spot, you understand the toughness it takes. And then we mentioned Vandenberg's size. What he has been able to accomplish, you look at the goal tally and you're saying, okay, he doesn't have as many as some of those guys up front, but what he is able to do from an offensive standpoint of just controlling that side of the ball, it's been so impressive.
So Roanoke, which missed the ODAC tournament in 2023, they were there, the NCAA tournament, they were there in 2022, took that 1-year hiatus, and they've got a case to be made, but they'll have to sit back and wait for what will surely be a very long 72 hours-ish until that selection show comes down on Sunday night. Now, that was Lynchburg in that spot last year. Wound up taking the top I shouldn't say the top, but the first at-large bid to come off the board did go the Hornets' way. And they wound up parlaying that into 2 wins in the NCAA tournament, got back to the quarterfinals. Stick all over Dylan Wolf again. And that's why you got to watch it sort of as the officials. You get those frustration plays. It's nothing dirty, but certainly get frustrated especially when the offense isn't clicking. And you look here, the Roanoke defense. I mean, yeah, Lynchburg scored 12 times, but you've held Lynchburg below its season average. And when you have an offense that you know can score, you kind of feel like you maybe have done enough. You can certainly see that frustration. Hadley's going to step up and save one more, and Lynchburg's going to run this thing out. 30 seconds between the Lynchburg Hornets and hosting the ODAC title game right here on Shelley Beach for the 2nd straight season. Hornets had not done it since 2015 until they did it last year. They lost to Washington and Lee in a heartbreaker. Can imagine, Evan, that they probably don't want to find that fate again when Randolph-Macon comes back to town on Saturday afternoon or evening. We'll wait on the official start time. Ball into the Lynchburg sky. Hornets back to the ODAC title game for the 4th straight year. Lynchburg trying to reclaim its spot atop the conference, and they take down Roanoke on the way.
No parade to the student section today, and it just has to feel so much sweeter for Lynchburg, a team that's had close games at home. Schellenberger has been a place that matters, and for some of these seniors, the grad students, they prolonged their Schellenberger play with one more, maybe the most important of their careers against Randolph-Macon, and a chance to earn something sweeter in the NCAA tournament.
Well, so Evan, now Lynchburg 7-1 in home games this season. That lone loss against Washington and Lee, they've now won 10 of their last 11 games, 7 in a row, and we'll update that goal margin over that 7-game win streak now with today's result. It moves to 115-50. So Lynchburg not only winning, and yeah, there was a 23-0 win over Randolph that we'll preface that as buoyed that a little bit. But still, you think about that game against Hampton-Sydney. Think about this game tonight, the game against Randolph-Macon, St. Mary's, Shenandoah, some solid teams coming in here. Lynchburg going on the road and just taking care of business here in these 5+ goal margin games.
Well, absolutely, and it's a stage of the season where, as we talked about, you've played so many ranked opponents that this game is no different. But in a way, it means everything else. It is so different because Lynchburg has just had to use that new sense of energy. You think about the entire regular season, and it comes down to this. Momentum is so key. Randolph-Macon's going to be bringing their A game as well. If you beat Washington and Lee, you have a feeling you can beat anybody in the conference, and so that's going to be a fun toss-up. But obviously, you get to the finish line healthy. Really nice scoring from Lynchburg, and maybe the defense, the collective player of the game.
Yeah, defense stole the show tonight. Tyler Hadley, unofficially 14 saves to just 6 goals allowed, 70% save percentage. And when you factor in the moment, arguably the best game he's had this season, but it gets hard to pick. I mean, he's had some good ones throughout his career, and this season, no exception. Lynchburg is going to pick up its 4th win over a ranked opponent of the season, 4-4 in such games now this year. You feel like their fate pretty much cemented for the postseason, but still want to go ahead and try to make it certain with a win over Randolph-Macon on Saturday. Roanoke will have to wait one more year to try and end that streak of losses coming here on Schellenberger Field. It's now 8 straight for Lynchburg, 9 straight in the series. And the Hornets turn their attention to Randolph-Macon. 2nd time this year. They were here just a few weeks ago. They'll be back here on Saturday. Stay tuned on social media. Stay tuned on the website for when that game will get started, when face-off will be. But we do know the date. We do know the matchup. And we do know that an NCAA tournament berth is on the line. First ODAC championship game appearance for Randolph-Macon. So keep in mind, they will have a lot to play for. They will come here ready to go on Saturday. We will see you then. We'll be right back here on Saturday whenever that game is. You can rest assured for what may be the last game on Schellenberger Field this season. We'll be right here alongside you, alongside Lynchburg and Randolph-Macon. We will sign off, though, for tonight. We're going to get some rest the voices, and get ready for 2 days from now. For Evan Gates, I am Sam Graham. We're signing off one next to last time with the ODAC Championship on cue.